Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. So I have been talking on my channel for some time about how I feel like I haven't had a 5-star really amazing romance in a long time, especially contemporary romance. They just haven't been hitting like they used to for various reasons. I feel like all of the things that are becoming popular in romance as new readers get into it are just not things that I'm into in my old age of romance reading. And so I decided that I was gonna read the best romances of the 90s, the most popular romance of the 90s. You can pretty much find any best of most popular that you want on Goodreads for whatever year. I don't know how far back it goes, but I found the 90s and I decided to read them. I decided I wanted to read them to see what the 90s romances were like. I used to steal my mom's Harlequin romances out of her closet when I was in middle school and read them. So I have been reading romance for a long time. Like a lot of people, I got into reading with books like Twilight and stuff like that. I obviously have been reading for a long time, but that was really where my love of romance and reading and the community around reading came into. My friends and I would just share the same copy of Twilight and pass it around and talk about it and watch the movies all the time together. And so I have very fond memories of the romances and the stories that I used to read when I was a kid. I personally was born in '96, so I don't really remember much of the 90s, and that's not to say that I remember a lot of my childhood. I'm hoping that I will get a new favorite romance out of the 90s. So I'm gonna read the 5 most popular. Incidentally, all of these are like from the same 2 authors. The books that I will be reading in this video are Nobody's Baby But Mine by Suzanne Elizabeth Phillips. We have Kiss an Angel, which is another forced marriage. We have the 3rd book by this author, Dream a Little Dream, which is in the same series as the Nobody's Baby But Mine. And then we also have these 2 by Miss Julie Garwood. We have The Wedding, and then lastly we have Ransom. These are what I'm going to be reading in this video. I really hope that I enjoy them. I would love a couple of 5 stars. At the very least, one 5-star would be nice. So let's just get into the vlog portion of the video and see how I feel about them. Okay, this is my 2nd time filming this update because I lost all of the footage for all 3 of these books. So it's fine because I was not very nice in my previous clips about these novels, but I have finished 3 of the 5 for this book. So I think for the other 2, I'm just gonna try to be as on it as I can be, and hopefully I like them a lot more than I like these 3 and I actually have good things to say. I don't tend to like to negatively talk about book. I like to just get it out of the way and move on. So we'll start with the first book that I read for the video, which was Nobody's Baby But Mine. This follows Jane and Cal. Jane is a doctor, she's a physicist, and she has always wanted a baby. She doesn't have any romantic prospects in sight, and she doesn't want to go to a sperm bank because she's incredibly smart, and she's afraid that if she goes to a sperm bank, all of the people that donate to sperm banks are medical students. The father will presumably be smart, and then she'll have a smart baby who is like her, who's a freak, and she doesn't want that for her child. So she makes a deal with this woman who sets her up with Cal, who is a NFL quarterback for some NFL team, and they have a couple of one-night stands. She is pretending to be a sex worker hired by some of his friends, and she ends up getting pregnant, doesn't tell him about it. He eventually finds out and forces her into a marriage. They go back to his hometown. Neither of these characters is very nice, very likable. I didn't like their romance in any regard. Jane was incredibly hypocritical, very judgmental. She was just a bit mean. She only wanted to have sex with Cal because she thought he was dumb. She just has this superiority complex over everybody, And Cal is no angel himself. He is obsessed with dating women that are below the age of 25. He refuses to date anybody over the age of 25. And he forces her to tell everybody in his life that she's 22 when she's actually 34. And when he finds out that she's not 22 like she initially said she was, he like loses his shit. And he is so focused on everybody believing that he is a youngster, that he's like not retirement age, that he's not falling apart, and they're just not great people. And I get that this is a romantic comedy, but part of romantic comedies are the romance. So presumably I would want to root for the romance, and to do that I would have to like the characters, and I don't like them. And the fact that they are going to be parents is a little bit scary for me. I didn't like this one. I gave it 2 stars. This is very long. It's a slog to get through. It's actually only 360-ish pages, as are all the other 3, but they feel a million years long. So I didn't find this funny. I didn't find this cute, romantic, or anything. This completely misses the mark. I didn't like the couple. Yeah, in a way they deserve each other, but that doesn't mean that I like it. So I then read Kiss an Angel. This is about a woman named Daisy who is a bit of a socialite. To avoid going to jail, she has to marry Alex, and Alex is the manager of a circus. She is forced into this marriage by her father and her stepmother. Her mother raised her up until a certain point and then passed away, and her guardianship became the responsibility of her father. She is a bit spoiled, a bit of a socialite, a bit ditzy, and Alex is roped into this engagement marriage for his own reasons. They get to the circus. She didn't know at all that's where she was going to land, and she gets there, and it's the last year that this circus is going to be. It's a moving circus, and it's dingy and dirty, and the people aren't the nicest. In the circus is known as a bit of a ladies' man and a heartbreaker, and they kind of immediately warn her off while simultaneously being jealous of her. And she just is forced to work while having a tumultuous relationship with Alex. They have this like begrudging physical attraction to each other. He doesn't respect her, he's not nice, and he doesn't really seem to care for anybody but himself, and he does not treat her well by any means. The largest issue that I have with this, well, I have an issue with every single thing in this book, but the thing that I cannot stand, cannot abide, cannot give this book anything more than 2 stars is the fact that this circus abuses their animals. While Daisy's time at the circus is spent trying to better the circumstances of the animals, ultimately the hero is the manager of the circus, and when she kind of bluntly is like, this is animal abuse, his response is, well, we can't sell them, and they're a lot better off here than anywhere else that would take these like old decrepit animals, and that is not good in my opinion. I can never root for a hero that stands by, condones, participates, is an accomplice in animal abuse, regardless of the situation with these animals, regardless of this is the last year and you don't have a really robust animal caretaking system in place. Regardless of any of that, these animals are in your care, and the fact that you are managing a circus and not doing anything to better the lives of these animals, and in fact contributing to their abuse and allowing their abuse to continue, I am actually incapable of rooting for you as a character, and I hated the reading experience of this. I am fine reading stories with these are harder hitting topics, especially in relation to animals, and I appreciate characters who are trying to better the lives of animals, but to tell me that the hero of the story, the person that I'm supposed to want our heroine to be with, the person I'm supposed to swoon over and love and want nothing but the best for, is an active participant or an active accomplice in the abuse of animals, I cannot get on board. Everything about this story, in my opinion, is bad. It's Their romance, it makes no sense. They have absolutely no connection. I don't even feel a physical connection between them. They don't work well as a couple. The writing is not great. The circus atmosphere is not whimsical or fun, and nothing about this screams emotional. Nothing about it screams fun. Nothing about it screams anything that I would enjoy reading. So this was another 2-star. And then lastly, we have Dream a Little Dream, which is the follow-up book to Nobody's Baby But Mine. It's in the same series, and they both take place in the same town called Salvation, North Carolina. And in the beginning of this, the heroine is recently widowed, and she is left to take care of their son. She moves back to her hometown, and she has a very rocky relationship with the people in this town. Her and her husband do not have a very good reputation, ultimately accused of stealing money from the church, and he blamed it on her. And so all of the people in the town sided with him, thank you misogyny, and so she took the brunt of his faults, his mistakes, his actions, and everybody in the town hates her. And then we have the hero, who is related to the hero from the first one. He's a bit cold, a bit stoic, and very typical of, it seems like, the heroes for this author. I didn't like him either. These two heroes are very similar, very mean. I couldn't see how anybody could believe the romance, how anybody could bridge the gap of his personality to get to a romance. I don't think the writing is believable in that way. I don't like this town. I don't like the majority of the feelings that I get from this story in particular, but this author in general. So overall, I think that this author is just not for me. I don't vibe with her writing style. I know a lot of people seem to really love her as a romance author, but she just doesn't write romances that I believe in and that I support, and her writing style is just not for me. That is what you missed on Glee. I'm gonna read the next 2 books for this video, and then I'll give you an update. I think I'm gonna start with Ransom. I have the physical books and I also have the ebook or the audiobooks, so I'm gonna try the physical book, see how I'm feeling. I haven't read anything by this author before. I'm very excited. I've been putting it off for sure. I've been putting off her novels for sure, just for like fear of not enjoying an author that everybody loves in the historical romance sphere. Okay, we're gonna do an update from here because my cat has decided that he wants to sit on me, and I'm obviously not going to move. So I ended up finishing Ransom, and I liked it. I thought it was okay. I landed on a 3-star for it. Basically, in the beginning of the story, the heroine her family gets captured and slaughtered by this baron, and he does it because her father, quote unquote, stole from the current king or prince or whatever. So he takes her captive. In the present day, she ends up saving a young boy that is Scottish. They end up back in the hands of the baron. She names the name of Broderick, who is the laird of a clan, and says he's her husband. Word gets back to him. He comes and saves her and the boy. They end up having to travel back to various places, take the boy back home, all of that. And so I would say it's like some travel, a little bit of like them staying in place, but a lot of travel. And they kind of go on this adventure together. It was a little bit hard to follow at first when I first started it. But, okay, he's moved, so let me put you down. It was a little bit hard to follow when I first started it. I wasn't really familiar with the world. This is the second book in a series. I don't think you have to read the other book to understand, but there definitely was a little bit of a setup for this world that I think I missed and I was confused by when I first started the audiobook. But I got a little bit into it and it was fun. Like, the banter between the hero and the heroine was fun. The hero was kind of a typical, I would say, hero for historicals back in this time period. Very just alpha and gruff and you're gonna listen to me and all of that kind of stuff. But the heroine was like not taking any of his shit, and they definitely argued back and forth, and he didn't super love it, and I thought that was fun. Overall, it wasn't like my favorite romance. It wasn't my favorite story in general, and I'm kind of not interested in reading the final book for this video with The Wedding. It's like another Scottish English woman romance, and I'm just not excited about it. So I think, if you'll forgive me, I'm going to end the video here. I just didn't really love any of these, and it definitely ruined my opinion. Not my opinion, but it ruined my commitment to the video. And I would say that this is about what I expected from these romances, and romance has come such a long way in the last like 30 years, and I'm so happy for that. I think the alpha hero was very much, and still is to a certain extent, very much sought after and written about and very popular, and the heroine was just like, you know, a little bit pick-me, a little bit starting to fight back, a little bit feisty, but ultimately it just had like the hero being a lot of the same energy around the hero. And I guess that's not really that different from current day romances. And this is just like the most popular romances at that time. If you were to read a list of like last year's popular romances, you're gonna have similar energies, similar tropes, all of that. And so I get that, but I'm very firmly, very happily in the generation that I'm in. I'm very happy with the romances that we get. I find myself a little bit discouraged with the direction of romance and what I think is popular. While I'm happy that a lot of people are finding the romance genre and finding their love of reading, either for the first time or since they were a child, I find that the older I get, the more I read, the less I'm enjoying some of the more popular things, popular stories, popular directions that romance in particular is going. And I might just sound like a curmudgeon old woman saying that, but I really feel that way. But having read these romances, especially the first three, I'm very happy with where we're at. I'm very happy with my Kennedy Ryans and my Brittany C. Cherry. Like I said, this is just scratching the surface for romance in the 90s. Maybe not confident with where we're going, but that is the end of this video. I know it was a short one. I know it was only a couple of clips here and there, but I really hope you guys enjoyed. I would love to talk down below about the romances that you stole from your parents when you were a child, if you did. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you guys in my next one.